Pronominaladverbien, whatever that might be. You don't have to remember this. I'll give you a little clue. It's worauf, darauf. You might have seen these words that start with wo or da and might have struggled to understand what are these, how do I translate these? And I hope I bring some light into this. So let's take a look at what they are. Here's one group of them, and you see maybe you recognize something here, but they all begin with da. Occasionally you have an R in the middle, and maybe you can already figure out when that is the case. Take a look at these with the blue R in the middle. What do they have in common? I will answer this after this slide. And then you see you have 4 hinter, über, unter, nebenan, zwischen, auf und in. And if you have taken part in one of our last live classes where I talked about the two-way prepositions or two case prepositions, you might recognize that these are the two-way prepositions. But this is about it. So this topic today has nothing to do with accusative or dative. Yeah, so you can relax. It's really much, much simpler in its core, but still a bit confusing if you don't know what they are. Then there's another group, and if you take a look at this, it's aus, bei, mit, nach, von, zu. These are created with help of dative prepositions. These things are so quickly learned, yeah, you can recite them without thinking, aus, bei, mit, nach, seit, von, zu. And you might also notice that not all dative prepositions are used. And the last group, a couple of accusative prepositions, durch, gegen, für. And the good news is, you don't have to learn these at all by heart or anything. So this is an overview. These are all there are that start with da, and that's all you need. Let's take a look what they mean. What's their meaning? I have very, very good news for you. They mean nothing. Yeah, you can completely ignore the meaning. You don't put them in your vocabulary trainer and learn darüber means about that. In a way, it does mean that, but you don't do that. It's irrelevant. Let's take a look at an example. Ich freue mich darauf, meine Mutter anzurufen. I'm looking forward to calling my mother. If you look at this sentence and ignore the red word, darauf, I bet that you will still make or get the full meaning of this. Ich freue mich, meine Mutter anzurufen. You don't need to understand darauf to make sense of the sentence. So if you hear a word that starts with da, darauf, daran, darin, just ignore and focus on the remaining words. So understanding this is beautiful because you don't have to. There's nothing to understand. You still can make sense of this most of the time. Yeah, I'm sometimes making things a bit smoother than they are in reality, but let's say in 90 to 98% of the occasion, you will not have to make sense of this. And you see in English, you would use to express the same idea, and also call ling, ing, requires you to become creative in German. Now, another example. Morgen rufe ich meine Mutter an. Ich freue mich darauf. Tomorrow I'm going to call my mother. I'm looking forward to it. And you see in English, we have to use it. So translating darauf would drive you crazy because it could mean this or that. Don't do that. You can still understand ich freue mich has the same meaning, 100% of the same meaning, or 99.9% the same meaning as ich freue mich darauf. That's the good news. Yeah? If it doesn't make sense, you can relax and ignore. So let's take a look at what they are good for. So yeah, there must be a reason for these. Yeah, there must be a use for these, otherwise Germans wouldn't have invented them. We use them to be able to use complex objects in a sentence. What that means. Let's take a look at something that's less complex, a simple object. For example, ich freue mich auf meine Mutter. I'm looking forward to my mother. Let's say she comes for a visit or you're calling her later. So you're looking forward to her. You see there's one verb, freuen or sich freuen. Don't worry about the sich or mich here. It's looking forward to. And if you are just looking forward to your mother, it's a very simple object. Yeah, there's no complexity here. Just you need to remember that after ich freue mich, with auf you need the accusative, which by the way we talk about in a couple of minutes, is part of my A1 B1 grammar course, in which I explain this in more detail. Now, a complex object is an object that contains a verb in itself, so that the overall construction here has two verbs. Ich freue mich and anrufen. And with these two, I cannot have them in the same sentence, because whenever you have two verbs and both verbs have a full meaning, like ich freue mich means I'm looking forward to, and anrufen means to call, they cannot be in the same sentence in German. So you need to put a comma somewhere and express it this way. And you see the darauf is actually a placeholder for the sentence that follows. So when a German hears darauf, he or she knows, okay, it's going to be a bit more complex, and there is going to be a verb. Yeah, most of the time that will be a construction with zu plus infinitive, like anzurufen. It could also be a das sentence with double S. So this is what we use darauf for. And let me now quickly walk you through how they work. They are referring to things. No, they refer to things that are about to be mentioned, like you just saw in this example. Ich freue mich darauf, meine Mutter anzurufen. The darauf refers to the sentence that follows. And usually the darauf is the word in front of the comma, unless you work in the past, but I will not talk about the past form at this point. You will discover this yourself. It's easy to discover. Or they are referring to things that have been mentioned in the sentence before. Another example. Morgen rufe ich meine Mutter an. Tomorrow I will call my mother, or I'm going to call my mother. Ich freue mich darauf. So the darauf is actually referring to the information I have just said in the sentence before, not much further back. So if you see a darauf, you always have to look either, is there a comma and a sentence following, or if not, you need to read the sentence before to make sense of it. Yeah, it's referring to that. And this is what they are used for. So take a look at these in the text that you're working with and try to find the referrer or what they refer to. Not sure whether it's good news or bad news. The da words are not alone. For every da word, a pronominal adverbs, there's a wo word. Let me explain to you what that means. Let's say someone is mumbling, doesn't speak so clearly, and she says, ich freue mich darauf, mama, 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 mama. And you don't understand that. So you have to ask, what are you looking forward to? And in German, you cannot say, was auf freust du dich? You have to say, worauf freust du dich? So if you want to ask for the part that you see here with the underscores, you need to use the same word, just replace the da with the wo. Worauf freust du dich? What are you looking forward to? And the answer then would be, meine Mutter anzurufen, to call my mother, or darauf, meine Mutter anzurufen. Now, I said you don't have to translate these, but if you had to translate, this is like, it actually means what to. The wo in worauf has nothing at all to do with the wo that you know, that you use for asking for where are things. Yeah, wo wohnst du? Where do you live? This is a completely different wo. So wo plus a preposition attached has the meaning of what. That's the irritating part. But as I said, don't even translate them. Darauf has the same meaning. Da means that. Okay? So, just that you know what they originally mean, but don't go into translating because it will drive you crazy. And with that, of course, is answering the what. Now, how do you know which one do you use? Well, the key are the verbs with prepositions. I will not go into detail of this topic. Lucky enough, or unfortunately for you, the verbs with prepositions do not make any sense. Yeah, so you have to learn these by heart, but I have found and also explain a wonderful mnemonic device, a memorization technique that I teach in this grammar course. Now let's take a look at sich freuen, which, as you might by now remember, means to look forward to. Sich freuen is married to the preposition auf. That means if you want to say what you are looking forward to, you need to use the preposition auf. Yeah? Unlike in English, where you have to say, I'm looking forward to, and not on top, which would be the literal translation of auf. So also here, the auf, do not translate. It does not make sense. Now, sich freuen auf requires which pronominal adverb, which da word, which wo word. Can you already figure this out? I give you 3 seconds to think what would be the word. 3, 2, 1. You would need darauf. Ich freue mich darauf. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, to the thing that someone has said before. And the question would be, what are you looking forward to? Worauf freust du dich? What are you looking forward to? Another example, denken an. Denken an in German, be careful, it's used quite differently from English. Denken an means to think about or to think of. And we use denken an most of the time. When you say, I think about. Now, denken an, what is the word you need, the da and the wo word? 3, 2, 1. Ich denke daran. I will remember it. I will think of it. And the question would be, woran denkst du? What are you thinking about? Okay. So this is the magic or the trick behind it. You need to know what preposition is married to the verb. And as I said, that's a completely different matter, but at least now you know how to tackle this topic. Now let's just run through a couple of exercises, just 5 little examples, and we focus on the wo words, the questions. Now I give you a couple of verbs with prepositions, for example, bitten, which means to ask for something. Now, how would you ask in German, what are you asking me for? All you have to find now is the wo word. A couple of seconds should suffice. 3, 2, 1. Worum bittest du mich? What are you asking me for? Another example. Sich freuen auf. We've used this throughout the presentation. Looking forward to. So the question should come fast. 3, 2, 1. Worauf. I hope you remember the R in the middle. I promised you I will resolve this. I forgot after the first slide, but the R is used whenever you have 2 vowels touching each other. And in German, that's not possible. You cannot say wo or worauf. The R is actually the glue that puts these 2 words together. And that is only the case when you have 2 vowels. Yeah, O or U, O or A here. Next example, glauben an, to believe in. And if you take a look at the English translations for these verbs and prepositions, you see you use completely different prepositions. So do not go into translating this. It is completely random what preposition we use with which verb. Linguists might disagree, and that's fine for them. For us, for a normal mortal, you do not need to know why bitten is with I have no clue myself, and I don't need it. Neither do you. Now, glauben an, you had some time. What is the question? Woran glaubst du? 2 more. Riechen nach, to smell like. 3, 2, 1. Wonach riechst du? And you see here we don't need an R because the N is easily attachable to the wo. What are you smelling like? Yeah, maybe someone smells like a beautiful perfume. Number 5, sich interessieren für, to be interested in. What's the question? What are you interested in? 3, 2, 1, and final answer, wofür interessierst du dich? I hope this was very easy for you. Yeah. I hope I could bring this topic, make it a bit clearer. It seems very complex and it requires a little bit of knowledge. The first question is from Ahmed, and he asks, what's the difference between darauf and darüber? Ahmed, there is no difference in meaning. They both mean nothing. So you use darauf with a verb that is married to the preposition auf. For example, I'm waiting for the bus. Yeah, ich warte auf den Bus. So warten is with auf. So if you want to have a more complex object than the bus, let's say I'm waiting for you to get ready. You have waiting and get ready. Then you have to use darauf. Yeah, you cannot use anything else because warten is married to auf. Ich warte darauf, dass, double S, du fertig wirst. And über you need with a verb that is married to über, for example, sich unterhalten, to discuss. Ja, ich unterhalte mich darüber, wie man Deutsch besser lernt. I'm talking about how to learn German better. Yeah, do not translate these. These are untranslatable. It will only confuse you, and you will understand everything without doing so. Okay, I've talked enough. I thank you for your attention, and I hope, again, that this presentation helped you a little bit getting some insight into the Pronominal Adverbien. I wish you a good night or a good day wherever you are, and if you're in Berlin, let me know. Maybe go for a coffee or chai. Ja? Schönen Abend euch und viel Erfolg mit deinem Deutsch. Auf Wiedersehen.